Hey everyone, so working on the rear end of the G today. I took off some of the easy stuff, so you can see the seat and battery box is gone. I just took that away as a whole unit. I took the battery out, and then there are 4 bolts holding on that battery box. I don't know if it's the original actual battery tray in there or not, but what's nice is about this G is you can reach these bolts with the battery tray still in it. I think on my B you actually have to remove the battery tray to reach these bolts, so it's kind of a pain. But anyway, I just took that away as a whole unit. I couldn't get the seat to slide forward, so must be jammed up on the one side or something, but that's something I can deal with later. Down here, I got the shield off. That's pretty simple. Just 4 bolts here. One was missing here because, oh, what do you know? That hole's broken. And one down there. I drained the transmission oil the other night, and it was like a cappuccino milkshake. It was all mixed up from me driving it around right before my last video. So nice and mixed up. Sadly, my drain plug is in the bottom of that. So, you know how it goes. We'll dump that out somewhere and grab that drain plug. So, gonna keep moving forward here, literally from the back end. This piece is gonna go. These are, you can get new ones pretty cheap anymore. I forget, they're like 35 bucks or something. So that'll go. We'll take off this cover piece, which, like the other styled series, I believe is 3 bolts, 1 and then 2 down below, and work our way forward here. Something I forgot to add in the last bit, these 4 bolts that come out of here, they're short, stubby things. These can get very, very stuck and hard. On my B, I broke one off and had to re-drill out the hole, so may want to soak it in some PB Blaster or something if you can, but don't be surprised if you break one. Now with that said, like these, you know, they were pretty rusted, the head to them. Get a good tight fit on the socket. You know, if you got a hammer on the socket to get it on all the way, whatever, make sure you got it on right, because if you round it, it's going to be really hard to get in that battery box to take those out. So just something to keep in mind on those. So moving on, I got those 3 bolts out here, and then from there I was able to just pull on this PTO shaft, and you can see it came out of the housing here. So we'll get this out of here, set this aside. I'll put my screws back in so I don't lose them. On my last tractor, I put all the screws in bags and labeled them. Since I'm in the other shop over here and I don't really have a workbench or anything, as of right now, I'm just going to put my screws back so I know where they go. Another thing I mentioned on this drawbar is we'll eventually have to get a new piece in here or a new drawbar support. I'm leaving that on the tractor for now so that when I change the rear axle seals, I can support the tractor underneath here to give me a little bit of a wider seating angle. So, all right, let's keep moving forward. All right, so you can see all the bolts that have to come out around that. Some of these are studs, so you've got nuts, lock washers on everything. And behind that is this dual plate here. So you've got the outer plate, you've got this inner plate, and then your 2 gears for your hydraulic pump. So we'll keep those nice and clean there in that bucket. I am going to take the power troll off now and just set that out of the way. I think I mentioned it earlier. I'm not going to dig into that at this point because that's something I can easily pull off later and work on. That I know I won't really be using for a little while. So let's see here, just same as that lower part, just some studs and bolts that'll come off. So we'll tear that off next. All right, so for a fair warning for everyone, don't do like I did. I had my oil bucket underneath the PTO rear end there when I pulled this shaft out. Now behind this shaft, so you know it's coming into the tractor this way, this gear has a key in it. There's a spring right there. There's also a special washer that goes on the far side of that spring. It was just by happenstance somebody posted on Facebook a question about the seals in this area, and I got looking at the parts diagram and I realized I was missing the spring. Well, the spring, the key fell down into my oil bucket. I didn't even know that. And I haven't found the washer yet. So just a fair warning on that when you pull that out, those are loose on the back side of this. So just keep track of that. Alright, so we got the power troll off here. You can see there is one stud on the bottom that slides on. You know, I give the engineers credit. Back in the day, they made it so you didn't have to hold it while putting a bolt in, so really thankful for that. Or taking it off, really. And then the rest are long bolts, 3/4 head. The one stud nut is a 7/8. You can see inside here, this is your cylinder for the lift arms, the power lift. Looks to be just a little bit of pitting in there on that cylinder, so we'll get that cleaned up. In order to take all this out, I debated leaving it in there, but you know, you're going this far. I think it's kind of dumb not to. So I want to take that cylinder off in there. I want to put a new gasket around it. I want to check the leather piece on the top of that piston. So we're just going to take everything out. Now, in order to get this out, we first have to unbolt this end here. You have to be very careful because there's a large spring in here that holds it in the up position. That way it has a tendency to go back to that. Or it's down. I'm trying to remember now. It's wanting to come up, and no, I'm sorry, I think it's in the downward position. But anyway, so you want to put a pipe wrench on this so that when you undo this bolt, it doesn't whip around too hard on you. But I think it only turns like a 1/4 turn, something like that. But once we get that out, then this is not under tension, and we can bring this out. We take these 2 bolts off here, and that'll allow the arms to come out, because that's what's holding those arms in, is actually those 2 bolts there. And then there's a big cotter pin back there. We'll take that out, then that pin comes out, and you can draw out the piston. If you guys have watched any of my John Deere B videos, I also go through this in one of those. Okay, so this one wasn't very tight. Maybe it just seemed tighter on my beak because I didn't have this wrench on. It wasn't prepared for it. So there is how it will go back on. In terms of the untightened position, you can see my pipe wrench. So when you release it, this is the way you want to have it. Because when you do go to tighten it, you want to pull it back this way and then get your bolts in. But then releasing it, you want in the same spot, you take your bolt out, and then you can slowly release that tension on there. So yeah, we'll take this off and work inside here to get the rest of this stuff out. Okay, on to plan B. So with this end piece off and with no tension on there, I should be able to take the pipe wrench and just rotate this, actually folding it that way, in order to draw this cylinder out. It appears to be stuck in there. Stuck pretty good. I had a pipe wrench with the cheater bar on it. So I would say what we are going to do is I'm going to see if I can get these arms out, and then we'll probably end up having to remove this. Have to think about this. We may just remove that cylinder from the backside and find a way to get that piston out of there at a later time. Something I should mention, I mean, other than like I just said, removing that whole cylinder out from the other side, you can do all of this by taking this whole rear housing off if you wanted. I mean, you know, and that's what I'm going to do next, is I'm going to take off all these bolts around the side here, but then these are two studs that everything slides on, so I'll get all those bolts loose and out. I'll get these studs loosened up, and I'll probably take the skid loader, because that's the simplest thing I have, wrap some chains around these arms over here and lift and slide this thing out of here. Then we'll be able to get access to the back side of that cylinder. Alright, another tip I should mention, so you can see I got these two arms out. This side is with the spring, and you can see this spring end right here is where on this housing, find it here, this notch finds that spring. So when you're rotating this housing piece and rotating it to put tension on it, what you're doing is pulling on this spring and twisting it to give it that tension. So this side pulls right out. This side didn't want to come out, so once you have one side out, I just put a rod through there and I pound it out through to the other side, because inside this cylinder here it's just a through hole. You can see now that I got those out. This is free. I can't take that out at this moment though, because you know, I just don't have the room. If the cylinder was up a little bit further, I can see if I can pound that forward a little bit. I might be able to, but I just don't think it's coming out that way right now anyways. So anyways, back to getting this whole housing off. Alright, so we got this slid off for now. I just wanted you guys to see at first what it looked like on the inside. So this is where the cylinder bolts to this housing, and behind there's a gasket, and sometimes those gaskets leak. That's why, you know, I want to go ahead and take this off and replace every gasket on this tractor, since it's a part. So we'll take this safety tie off, and then we'll pull this whole cylinder off with the cylinder, and we'll work on getting that piston out. And you can see we are left with the bowl gears. Got a little dirt fell down on the gears when I took that off, but yeah, so we'll take a look in here. Everything looks nice and oiled, which is good. We'll check out all the gear teeth, and we'll work on getting these inner axle seals fixed. So yeah, so next comes a lot of work. I need to jack up the tractor. I think I'm going to do this left side first. I'm going to support it under this side here. And we'll get the jack on and see if we can move those wheels out, get them off. Like I said, I want to move them. I want to move them out as a minimum, but either way, we got to eventually get that axle out to replace those seals. So here we go. Alright, so you can see we got the cylinder off here. Here's that back side of it that bolts on. So how this works is your pump sends oil in through this hole, and that feeds the top of the cylinder and draws it back. So all your oil inlet and outlet is here. I may just soak this in oil, because you know the way these sit up high like that, if they don't have oil in them, it's easy, I'm sure, for them to get seized up. So soak it in oil with the oil with at least this full, and then oil on the backside. Got some really bad news. I got looking closer in here. And that there is gear teeth shards. So, I mean, I was planning to take this all apart anyway, but the bad news is somewhere there's some chewed up gear teeth. So we'll just have to find out where that's at and see if it's going to be a problem or not, you know, depending on its location. So I think I'm going to end this video here. Good stopping place. The next task of loosening these wheels and getting the inner axle seals is a pretty monumental one. So you all have a good day, and hopefully hear something from you guys, or I don't know, hopefully get this done sometime in the near future. Have a good one.